Hi BookTube, my name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with a delayed March 2021 wrap-up and stats video. I meant to get this out last week. I got busy and I didn't get a chance to get it filmed, so I'm filming it now. I apologize for the delay on this one, but it is what it is. So if you are new to my channel, what I do in these wrap-up videos every month is I talk about my stats. I'm a stat nerd and I keep these spreadsheets on what I read. So I have all of these stats and I like to compile them together at the end of every month and share them with you guys. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the books that I read this month in order of favorite to least favorite. So I thought that would be a little bit of fun. I'm going to just bring them up here on my tablet when we are ready to do that, because it'll just be easier than me trying to insert all these pictures at the end. And I'm not going to get into what all these books are about. I've talked about all of them in various videos over the course of the month of March. So I'm really not going to get into them all again. But if you want more information, be sure to check out my Goodreads. So in March, guys, I finished 20 books. I read 20 books in March. I'm really, really pleased with that stat. 19 of the books were new to me, and one was a reread. So for my Goodreads goal, I am now, as of the 1st of April, I always check this as of the 1st of April, or the 1st of the month. I was 11 books ahead of schedule. 49 out of the 150 books I had put down for my Goodreads goal. I'm at 33% right now. Or I was. So that's very exciting. That stat has changed because, of course, I've read some between now and then. Star ratings. I read 1 3-star book, 2 3.5-star books, 10 4-star books, you guys. 10. It was a really good reading month this month, or back in March. 4 4.5-star books, and 3 5 stars. You guys know I do not give out 3-star reviews lightly. So that one is pretty spectacular. So my average star rating for the month was 4.15 stars. Up from last month in February, it was 3.82 stars was my average. So in terms of what I read, this was the month of March Mystery Madness, as well as middle grade March. So that is obviously noticeable here. I read 9 romantic suspense novels, 4 cozy mysteries. I did read 3 contemporary romance novels because I can't get away from my contemporary romance. I read 3 middle grade books and 1 historical fiction novel. So I like to keep track of how many category romances I read. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's Harlequin. The ones that you guys see like in the stores, like these, with a very specific line. They're usually numbered at the side. So that's a category romance. And I read 45% of what I read this month was category romance, which makes me really happy because I have so many of them that I'm trying to get through them all. I read 6 Harlequin intrigue novels, 2 Harlequin romantic suspense novels, and 1 Harlequin desire novel. So in terms of the age range for the books, I read 17 books geared towards an adult audience and 3 middle grades. So I had planned, I think, 5 or 6 middle grades, but I got 3 of them done. So I'm very, very pleased with that. I read 1 book published in the 1980s, 1 from the 1990s, 2 published in the 2000s, 5 of them published in the 2010s, 5 of them published last year in 2020, and 6 books published this year in 2021. That one I was really happy with. In terms of how I consumed these books, 7 audiobooks, 6 ebooks, 4 mass market paperbacks, 2 trade paperbacks, and a hardcover. And I decided to check this stat out because this year I am really trying not to rely as much on audiobooks. So I'm curious as to what the percentage of audiobooks compared to the rest of the books that I read. And it was 35%. So if I can keep it under 50%, I'm a happy camper. So coming in at 35% of what I read was on audio, that makes me very happy because I do love audio. I do. And I say that all the time. And there's nothing wrong if that's the only way that you want to consume your novels. But I have so many print books and so many ebooks. And, I just think to myself, why am I spending the money or spending a credit from Audible to listen to this book that I already own a copy of, either digitally or physically? You know what I mean? So that's why that's a big deal to me, because I'm really trying. I did restart my Audible subscription, but I'm really relying more on the library and Scribed because I do also have the Scribed membership, and I have that for a good little while. So that's a good thing. Anyway, back to the stats. So series. I do like to, of course, keep track of my series. 15 of the books that I read this in March were part of a series. 5 of them were standalone. So it's okay. Of those 15 books that were part of a series, 8 of them were new series that I started. Oops. 6 of them were part of ongoing series that I'm already reading. And 1, I completed a series. I started and finished a series, which is so exciting. So that was the Tactical Crime Division Traverse City series. And this was by various authors. I will mention all of them when I go through all the books that I read this month. So as for pages, I read a grand total of 5,855 pages, which averages out to about 189 pages per day, which is not too shabby. So just some random fun facts here. So the highest rated book on Goodreads was Waking Up Married by Reese Ryan. It came in on Goodreads at 4.40 stars. I gave it 4.5 stars, so pretty much the same. The lowest rated book that I read on Goodreads was The Bachelor Girl's Guide to Murder by Rachel McMillan, came in at 3.5 stars, which still is not that bad. That's not a horrible star rating. I gave it 5 stars. I really love that one. In terms of length, the longest book I read was Alone by Megan E. Freeman. It came in at 416 pages. Now, yes, it was 416 pages, but that book was told in verse. So technically, it was probably half the size it actually ends up being. Like, if it was, do you know what I'm saying? Like, if it wasn't told in verse with, like, very wide margins and what have you. So, you know, whatever, it's listed as the longest book, so that's fine. The shortest book that I read, again, was The Bachelor Girl's Guide to Murder by Rachel McMillan. It came in at 222 pages. So there's some fun other little stats here, and I actually got these from Amy over at Zoe Beck. I will leave a link to her channel below. She does some great wrap-up videos as well. If you like this kind of stat-heavy wrap-up, you need to check out her stuff too, because she's awesome. And she mentioned these ones in the last one of hers that I watched, and I really liked the stats. So I kind of played with them a little bit for my own use. So the first one here is the number of pages per book. So I told you guys the number of pages per day, but the number of pages per book ended up being 293. So just under 300 pages was the average page length. The number of books that I either purchased, borrowed, or got as ARCs this month. Hold on to your hats, kids. 101. 101 books came into my possession this month. Now, for those of you who saw my huge haul of Harlequin books, of my physical Harlequins, I got 250 of them. I'm going to be honest, guys, those are not going into the stats for April. I won't be putting those in there because I'm still working my way through cataloging them. They're not going to go on the spreadsheet because at this point they're all kind of amalgamated in with everything else on my shelves. So my bigger thing is getting them on the shelves. So I'm not counting. I am counting them, and I'll probably mention it in passing for my April wrap up, but I probably won't count it towards these statistics. This is what's fun though. So the average cost per book that I purchased was 97 cents. 97 cents on average per book. So a good chunk of those, again, were ARCs or copies I borrowed from the library. I did buy a lot of books as well. So, you know, I'm not getting it. That will be coming in a couple of days. I will be doing my ebook haul. Now, my ebook haul for the month of March is not going to include NetGalley. Unless you guys want it to. Do you guys want me to include the books I got from NetGalley in my March ebook haul? Because that would make it, like, bigger. Let me know if you guys... I tried to stay off of NetGalley. I really did. But that's completely blown out of the window. You know, it's one of those New Year's resolutions that I clearly did not keep. So let me know if you guys are interested in seeing that. I will include those in my March ebook haul. But out of those 101 books, I've read 5 of them. It's the little things, right, guys? It's the little things. So, I mean, at least I read some of them. You know, those are probably the ones I borrowed from the library. But regardless, I read some of them. I'll take it as a win. Challenges and events. So, as I already mentioned, I participated and was a co-host in March Mystery Madness, hosted by the lovely Elizabeth over at Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'll leave a link to her channel as well in the description box below. And I also participated in Middle Grade March, hosted by Krista over at Books and Jams, and 2 other people that I'm sorry I'm blanking on. One is the Curly Reader, is it Amanda at the Curly Reader? And I can't remember the last person. I am so sorry. But I will find all of them and leave link to all of their channels below as well. So do check them out. Even though those events are both over, stay tuned for them next year. So that's always fun. So let's get, oh yeah, and of course I did participate again in the Triple RC Challenge, which is the Romance Readers Reading Group Challenge on Goodreads. I've now done it to completion for 5 years and 3 months. So I've been doing that challenge for a while. So let's get into the breakdown of what I read this month. So again, from favorite book to least favorite book of the month. So my favorite book of the month, sorry for the glare, you guys, was The Sea in Winter by Christine Day. This one I gave 5 stars to. It was for middle grade March. This book was fantastic. Coming in a very close second was Alone by by Megan E. Freeman. I mentioned this one already for the longest book of the month. This one I also gave 5 stars to. It was absolutely fantastic. Again, sorry for the glare from my laptop. Let me try that. That doesn't really make a difference. Sorry, guys. This is just the easiest way for me to be able to do this. Okay, so next up was The Bachelor Girl's Guide to Murder, which I gave 5 stars to, again, by Rachel McMillan. This is the first in the Herringford and Watts series. This one was a lot of fun. Next up, The Last Resort by Janice K. Johnson. This is a Harlequin intrigue novel, and I gave this one 4.5 stars. It was a standalone. It was really, really good. A contemporary next, you guys, Waking Up Married by Reese Ryan. I gave this one 4.5 stars. It is a Harlequin desire novel. Next, we have Hunting a Killer by Nicole Helm. Another intrigue novel and another 4.5 star. This was part of the Traverse City series that I started and finished. Death by Dumpling by Vivian Chen, also a 4.5 star read. I read this over with Scott and Becky from the Bookish Bryants. I will leave link to them below. They hosted a read-along for this book in March, and it was so much fun. I've read a further book in this series, but if you like cozy mysteries, you need to check this one out. Next up, another contemporary, Wrong Turn by Samantha Chase. This one I gave, 4 stars to. Really fun road trip romance. Next up, we have another cozy. This is Grounds for Murder by Tara Lush. This one I gave 4 stars to as well. And then we have Toxin Alert by Tyler Ann Schnell. This is another book from the Tactical Crime Division series. I gave this one 4 stars. Impact Zone by Julianne Lindsay from the Tactical Crime Division series, 4 stars as well. This was a great second chance romance. And again, this is one that also dealt with a couple that had been previously married. So it was a second chance from a marriage, which is always, the stakes are a little bit higher in my opinion. And then the last one for the Tactical Crime Division books was Rookie Instincts by Carol Erickson. Again, I gave that one 4 stars as well. Then we have Colton Bullseye by Jerry Croteau. I gave this one 4 stars. Really enjoyed this one. This is a Harlequin romantic suspense. This is a great series. I think it's book 3 or 4 in the Coltons of Grave Gulch series. You need to check it out. Live and Let Chai by Bree Baker. This is the first book in the, what's the series called? A Seaside Cafe Mystery series. I have read further books in the series. I've read, I think, like books 2, 3, and 4. So I went back and read book number 1. This is Julianne Lindsay. So this is her pen name for writing these cozy mysteries, and they are an absolute delight. Then we have another cozy, Flipped for Murder by Maddie Day. This one I also gave 4 stars to. It was really, really cute. This is part of a country store mystery series. And then we have an old Heather Graham. So this is A Matter of Circumstance by Heather Graham. This was published in 86, and it's very much 1986. It was fun. I talked about this one in my review that it kind of reminded me a little bit of the movie Overboard, but with Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. So yeah, it had those kind of elements to it. It was fun, and I gave that one 4 stars as well. Then I read The Babysitter's Haunted House by N.M. Martin. This was surprisingly not my reread. I had one reread this month, and it was actually The Bachelor Girl's Guide to Murder. Reading this one, I don't think I ever read this one when I originally read The Babysitter's Club, because I had no recollection of it at all. I think I owned a copy, but I don't know if I ever read it. So I ended up giving this one 4 stars. And then we had Against the Wind by Kat Martin, the first book in the Rains of Wind Canyon series. This one I gave 3.5 stars to. It was a romantic suspense novel. Then we have The New Deputy in Town by B.J. Daniels. 3.5 stars as well. This one was part of a bind-up originally with the Heather Graham book. So I ended up reading them both separately and tagging them as separate books instead of a bind-up. But yeah, I mean, this one was fun. It was a B.J. Daniels, not one of my favorites by her. And also, another one that I really like this author, but this wasn't a favorite, was Hidden by Tara Taylor Quinn. This was a standalone novel. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was good. It just wasn't spectacular. So anyway, so those are all of the books that I read this month. So let me know what you guys thought about that. I know I ran through those relatively quickly, but like I said, I have talked about them all in previous videos in the month of March. What I'll also do maybe below is I will leave a link to my wrap-ups, my weekly wrap-ups or vlogs or whatever I was doing in March. And I'll list below what books I talk about. So if you want to see more about a specific review, you can go to that video. Okay? I think that seems fair. Because I wasn't going to sit here for the next 45 minutes and talk about all of those books all over again. Considering I'm on track to read more than 20 books in April. So, you know, again, I hope that you guys like that. Like, I kind of like ranking them least favorite to you know, like, or favorite to least, whatever, you know. So I mean, there were no books that I disliked this month. My lowest star rating was like a 3 star, so that's an average rating for me. And as I've talked about in previous videos, I rate stories or books based on my personal entertainment value. Was I entertained? Yes. As long as I was entertained, that's all that matters. And for all those books, I was. Absolutely I was. So yeah. Anyway, you guys, that is all that I have for today's video. I do hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below, how many books did you read in March? What was your favorite book that you read in March? Did you read any of these ones that I talked about? And if so, let me know what you thought about them. And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.